Hello, how's your Good Friday going for you today? We made hot cross buns. They're low FODMAP, which means that they're gluten-free and they're lactose-free and they're mostly sugar-free. They're not really very nice. I think we might have to try again next year. And other than that, I spent my morning testing encoding software for this live stream in the hope that we might be able to get a little bit more quality happening. Discovered that my internet doesn't quite manage. I haven't found the right settings for it to cope yet. So apologies if you were one of the 2 people who somehow found their way onto that test. That must have been a very exciting and slightly weird experience for you. Thank you for joining me today. It's good to have you singing. We are finishing up the week with the oo vowel. And because it's a public holiday here in Australia, we're just going to take a slightly more chilled approach today, not do anything too fast or too fancy. And we're going to start with a stretch, as usual. This is a good stretch to do in a chair. When you're singing, I hope you're not in a chair, but if you need to be, I know sometimes when you're hooked up to a computer, you might need to be. This stretch means you take your hands, you find your chair, you put your outside hand behind you on the chair. You push your outside hand on right next to your opposite hip and your back hand round behind you on the other side. Grab the edge of the chair if you can and pull up from that chair. It should give you a really good stretch through your back. And then come back to the middle. Same thing. So your back hand goes all the way around to the other side of the chair. Your front hand comes around next to your opposite hip and you stretch. Recommend you do that every 20 minutes when you're sitting at a computer chair. Our sound of the day comes to you courtesy of Australia, and it's particularly good for the oo vowel. We are going to make a teeny tiny copy of one of Australia's native birds, the kookaburra, and it goes like this. Coo, 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 ka, 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 ka. Try. Coo, 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 ka, 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 ka. And again. Coo, 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 ka, 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 ka. Kookaburras are really loud birds. For this exercise, keep it quiet. We want everything to feel like there's a lot of lift in the back of your mouth and the sound's hovering around the top of the roof of your mouth. Let's go again. Coo, 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 ka, 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 ka. And the k sound really connects your tongue to the roof of your mouth, reminding you just to keep everything high and lifted. So try singing. We're going to do a little singing exercise using this. Going coo, 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 ka, 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 ka. Keep it light. If your tongue's working really hard, you won't be able to go so fast. Coo, 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 ka, 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 ka. Coo, 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 ka, 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 ka. Coo, 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 ka, 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 ka. Coo, 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 ka, 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 ka. Coo, 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 ka, 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 ka. Coo, 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 ka, 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 ka. And the higher you go, the more you want to imagine that that sound is coming forward in your mouth. So use the k sound like a springboard to move that sound forward. Coo, 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 ka, 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 ka. Coo, 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 ka, 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 ka. Coo, 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 ka, 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 ka. Coo, 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 ka, 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 ka. Coo, 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 ka, 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 ka. That was a little high for me. Some of you may still be going, but I'll let you keep warming up your top end after this session if you would like. So this week we've been focusing on vowels, and we are at the end of our cycle of vowels, e, r, o, and u. And that means that we can now do a really simple exercise, but it's a great benchmark for any singer to get the best out of their sound. It's just those 5 vowels in succession. And your job is to try to get each of those vowels with the same amount of resonance. Try and get each of those vowels with the same amount of opening at the back of your mouth, even though the shape might change at the front and your tongue changes. And also try to get all those vowels with your tongue lying flat on the roof of your tongue lying flat on the bottom of your mouth and the tip behind the back of your bottom teeth. So your tongue might move up for the E and the E, but it's never moving back in your mouth. Start by getting the best E you can muster. Play around with it until you're satisfied. And then cycle through the vowels as steadily as you can. And if you do one exercise as a singer, do that one, because checking back in with your vowels to get your best vowel is the best way I can think of to make sure you have a clear and consistent sound. I'm not a great singer. I've done some singing training, but never to actually perform, just so I had some idea what was going on. So for me, as a rank amateur with singing, that's something that's really helpful. But I know it's also the building block of the technique of all the really great singers. Those 5 vowels: clear, resonant, bright, consistent. The U vowel is also really handy for one other thing, and that is going over your register change. Now, this will be different depending which voice type you are, and also whether you are male or female in terms of your biological sex. So what we need to do here is choose a point in your register that's just above where the register change is going to happen for people who generally sing soprano and alto, or just below for people who generally sing tenor or bass. Okay? I'm going to start with the soprano-alto change. We're going to start up here in head voice, and we're going to head downwards on an ooh, really softly with a really forward sound. And what you need to do is, as you come down, just imagine your larynx drops, if it was an elevator, not a whole floor, certainly not multiple floors, just a half floor. And as we go down, that register change will start to kick in. Keep the sound forward with the ooh, keep it soft and gentle. If you sing tenor or bass, you can follow along with this exercise as well, but we're going to need to go up for your register change. So we'll do that in a minute. Okay. So you can hear that the register change happened for me sort of about halfway through. If you keep the ooh nice and forward, it'll be a little less clunky. So we're going to go the other way now, tenors and basses. This is particularly for you. When you swap into that head voice, the more hooty and forward you can get that sound, the easier it'll be. Or so I'm told. Good. And it's time for our song. But before we sing that, I just want to rethink what I said before about where your register change happens depending on your biological sex. That actually wasn't correct. Everybody's register change, as I understand it, is dependent on probably a combination of the hormones in your body and what your physiology looks like. So whether you sing soprano or alto, there are particular points at which that change is more likely to happen, but it will be a little bit different for all of us. Same for tenors or basses. So don't feel like you must let your register change happen at any particular point in your voice if it feels unnatural to you. The best benchmark you can make for that, I think, is where do you start to lose power in your voice? Because when you suddenly feel that things go fluffy or you feel like you're straining, then that might be the point at which to consider swapping registers. Finessing that join takes time. Keep the sound forward, start with soft and light, and then you can work to building up the sound. Now, I know some people tune in from other parts of the world, and I know some people make this their bedtime listening just before they finish. I hope you have sympathetic neighbours if you're doing your singing practice late at night while you're in quarantine. But I thought we might finish the week with a fairly chilled, gentle, soft tune, just as a shout out to all of those people who are doing their bedtime singing practice. This is just a really simple round. I'm going to sing each line and then you can sing it back to me. Just on a nice connected ooh. Good. The next one goes. Here we go. And last phrase. Your turn. Let's put all of that together and we'll swap from an ooh to loo. And loo, 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 loo. Now we try it in a canon. So I'm going to start with you. Once you've got to the end of the first line, you keep going. I'm going to go back to the beginning. Let's go twice round. Here we go. We'll start together. You keep going. Thanks for singing with me. Stay safe, stay well, stay home, and I hope you can enjoy it. See you next week.